In this session of how to post rides, let's talk a little bit about how to manage the RSVPs. I'm going to open an event, and this particular event is not a ride event, so some of what I'm saying doesn't really apply, but let's take a quick look at what I might want to do. As I look at the event that I've got, the distance and pace, and I look down the riders, very often most of the riders you'll know. But at some point there may be someone who's new to the group and you don't know them, so you may click on their photograph, and that brings up their member profile. So their member profile gives you an opportunity to go down and take a look at what they describe their level as. Now remember, almost everyone describes themselves as intermediate, whether they are or not. Sometimes they're better or worse than they describe, but you know, sort of read between the lines on this and try and determine whether or not this person is adequately prepared for the ride that you've posted. If you have any questions or doubts, go down to the bottom, and here are some things that are available to you as a ride leader that you don't see otherwise. But you have an opportunity here to take a look at how many times they've RSVP'd, so that tells you what they've done so far. At this point, this is the only RSVP, so we really don't have any attendance history. If I wanted to, I could take a look at the attendance history here and see what has this person attended. If there was an attendance history, and let me go find someone who has an attendance history so that you could click on that. If I just simply go back to my event, and I know Gary has some attendance history, so then I can scroll down to the bottom and take attendance history, and I can go down and see what he's attended. Who has he been riding with? So if I have any questions about his riding ability, for example, if he's been riding with JC a lot, I can email JC and say, how's Gary do on this particular ride? Do you think I have too many hills in this, or whatever the question is? You just ask, is he up for this ride or not? And you can also take a look here at how many times has he RSVP'd and how many times did he show up. So in this case, Gary's got 100% show up, so he doesn't have any no-shows. So if a person has a lot of no-shows, then you can also realize that you probably don't need to wait around a long time for them at the start line if they aren't on time. That gives you some information about how to sort of review who signed up for your ride and make sure that you're getting people that are suited to the difficulty of the type of ride that you have. Now, if you feel that there's some problem, you might approach it delicately, because no one wants to have their ability challenged, and sometimes you just say, well, your ability is way above what we're doing here. Are you sure you want to ride this slow? And that's perfectly all right too, to ask them if they're okay with that. And if somebody who, let's say you've get information from another ride leader that says, they had to walk the last 3 hills, and you have a pretty fast group that is going to feel resentful about standing at the top and waiting a long time for many hills, then maybe you want to encourage the person to choose another ride. But that's going to be your call, and we'll talk about this at ride leader meetings and that sort of thing, about how you handle that sort of thing. The other thing to know about is this tools section at the top. If you click Tools, you can close the RSVPs. So you can click in here at any time. For example, if you want to close the RSVPs just as you're leaving the house to go to the ride, and you don't want to have people RSVP at the last second when you're not there, you can go ahead and click this. That closes the RSVPs. This name tags is not very useful because it requires a pre-printed or a special form, and they're fairly expensive, so we don't do this. You can email all the attendees. So if you click this, we talked about that a little bit in the last video about how you would email information about changes. But you might email everybody about, for example, a rain policy that's coming along, or something like that. If you just have a little comment or note that you want to get out to everybody who's going on this ride, you have this little email tool. You can also edit the RSVPs. So if you click Edit, this, for example, allows you to take someone on or off the list. So if you talk to somebody and they just really for one reason or another, you just don't think that they should be going on this ride, you do have the ability to move them into not attending. If you want to add somebody to the list, you can just go ahead and type in their name, and it'll go find them, and then you click attending, and that adds them to your list or puts them on the waiting list as you choose. This is useful sometimes. Let's suppose you're sitting around at the end of a ride and at the after ride social, and a group of you talk about, oh, this would be a great fun ride to do next week, and somebody comes up with a terrific idea and 3 or 4 people pitch in and all want to participate. Then you have this conversation, you go home, you create the ride event and post it. You want to include the people who have already told you they want to come. Now, sometimes if you just post the ride and wait for them to find it, they may be at work the next day and the ride fills up before they have an opportunity to sign up. By using this edit RSVPs, you can go ahead and add the people that you know want to go on the ride. And that way, as soon as the event is posted, you've got the people who were a part of the whole planning process already signed up on the event. There are some occasions where you might fill the entire event, and then you might say, well, what would be the point in posting? So if you go ahead and fill the entire event with people who have already told you that they want to participate in the event, that's great, because what it does is it allows others who might think that that's a great event to be on the waiting list. Then if somebody has something come up that is a conflict and they have to drop off, then someone on the waiting list can take that spot. The other thing that it does is give you an indication of who else might be interested in that type of ride when they do come on the waiting list, so that you know to post that ride again in the near future, that it will be a popular ride. So in this way, you have a lot. Oops, yeah, no, I didn't add JC to that. I thought maybe I did. At this point, you can go ahead and manage these RSVPs and sort of help people make good decisions about the ride. It's always a tough balancing act as a ride leader to make sure that your group is fairly well matched so that everybody enjoys the ride. Most of the time, people are very patient at waiting for slower riders, but it does get old. So if you post a ride at 15, as we repeat constantly through our ride leader training, lead the ride you advertise. And it's not fair to the people who can ride at the posted speed to ride significantly slower because someone just thought it's okay if everybody waits. Most of the time, people don't like people to be the one that everyone is waiting for, so that doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So both ends of the scale. Sometimes you have people who want to push the pace and ride faster than the advertised pace, and it's your job as a ride leader to lead the ride you advertise. So it's always that, like I said, that balancing act of going through the RSVPs and making sure that you've got people who are okay with what you have here. All right, that said, if there are any questions, email me and we'll take it from there.